In the dim light of the hotel room, a smaller frame pressed against the tall, imposing figure of a man. Leo desperately flooded the air with his own scent, a wave of sweet clementine, while pleading in a strained voice. He told his brother that some things couldn't be forced. A high concentration of an omega's pheromones could cloud an alpha's judgment. As he spoke, his eyes darted to the corner of the room, where a striking omega boy stood frozen. He urged the boy to leave immediately. The boy, Noah, gave him a look of sheer surprise. He was undeniably handsome, with porcelain skin and delicate features that stood out even in a simple white t-shirt. There was a resilience about him that paradoxically made one want to protect him. It was no wonder Liam had been captivated. But this was a line that couldn't be crossed. Noah recovered quickly, and minutes later, the heavy hotel room door clicked shut. Leo let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. A rough, heavy sound from above made him look up. He met Liam's gaze, the edges of his eyes flushed with a dangerous crimson. He was clearly enraged. Leo suggested he would retract his pheromones so Liam could calm down. He let go, intending to make a swift exit. But before he could take more than a few steps, an overpowering scent of sharp grapefruit crashed over him, a tidal wave that enveloped him completely. The inherent dominance an alpha held over an omega asserted itself. Leo's legs buckled, and he collapsed to the carpeted floor. He looked back, his voice trembling as he called his brother's name. The sight that met him sent a jolt of pure fear through his veins. The man's handsome face was unnaturally flushed, his dark eyes stripped of their usual clarity and filled with a raw, predatory hunger. A terrible realization dawned on Leo. His own pheromones must have triggered Liam's rut, pushing it far ahead of schedule. Panic seized him. He fought against the weakness in his limbs, trying to crawl toward the door. Footsteps closed in behind him, slow and deliberate. A voice, demonic in its low timbre, whispered by his ear, questioning why he was running now after being so bold with his scent moments before. This was a nightmare. Leo was an outsider here, a soul dropped into a story not his own. He wasn't the villain nor the hero. He was a background character, an orphan who'd had the fortune or misfortune of growing up in the same group home as the future antagonist, Liam. The narrative was clear. Liam would be reclaimed by his wealthy family at 10, eventually seizing control of their vast fortune. He was, simply put, powerful. Having known hardship, Leo had attached himself to Liam from a young age, becoming his most loyal shadow. But Liam was a brooding, silent child who had wanted little to do with him. That changed the day other children threw stones at Liam. Leo had shielded him with his own small body, earning a bleeding gash on his head for his trouble. After that, Liam's cold exterior had softened. When the day came for him to leave with his new family, he had insisted on bringing Leo along, raising him as a younger brother. A decade had passed. This year, at 18, Leo presented as an omega. Liam had even promised to find him a good, trustworthy alpha someday. Now, that promise was ash. As an ankle was seized and he was dragged back into a powerful embrace, genuine fear finally took hold. He apologized, babbling about being wrong and promising to find inhibitors. If it weren't for the story's plot, where Liam's obsessive pursuit of the main character, Noah, led to his ruin at the hands of the hero, Leo would never have interfered. But an alpha in a rut was beyond reason. Hot breath ghosted across the back of his neck, sending a paralyzing tingle down his spine. The concentration of alpha pheromones in the air was suffocating, making his head spin and a deep, unfamiliar heat bloom within his own body. A hidden, secret longing began to stir. A short, sharp cry escaped his lips as a piercing pain shot through the nape of his neck. Liam's scent, that sharp grapefruit, was being forced into him, mingling with his own sweet clementine. It felt like an electric current surging through his body, causing him to shudder violently. The immense stimulation made him arch his neck involuntarily, his strength draining away in an instant, leaving him pliant and weak. Suddenly, he was lifted into the air. He instinctively clung to Liam's neck, and then he was tossed onto the large bed. Liam stood over him, pulling at his tie with a feral grace, his eyes dark and fixed on Leo like a predator locking onto its prey. The tie fell to the floor. The collar of his black dress shirt was open, revealing the powerful lines of his body beneath the thin fabric. An odd shiver went down Leo's spine. He swallowed hard, trying to inch away toward the headboard. His eyes caught on something in the bedside dispenser, inhibitors. A wave of relief washed over him, and he cried out that there were inhibitors right there. He told Liam to calm down. Without hesitation, Leo fumbled for his phone, scanned the payment code, and completed the transaction in one fluid motion. His mind was consumed with the thought of getting the medication, failing to notice the man in front of him silently unbuckling his belt. The metallic click was unnervingly loud in the quiet room. At the same moment, the dispenser unlocked. As he reached for the small box, another, larger hand shot past his, moving much faster. He froze for a second, then quickly recovered, saying it was fine if Liam wanted to get it himself. He assured himself that his brother wasn't a monster. It was just the pheromones. An inhibitor shot would fix everything. But before he could fully relax, a searing heat pressed against his back. He watched in horror as that hand bypassed the inhibitors entirely, closing instead around a box of condoms. His pupils dilated. The grapefruit-scented breath was hot against his ear. A low voice murmured that Leo was the one who started this. Everything was spiraling out of control. Liam pinned both of his wrists above his head with a single hand. Staring into those lust-filled eyes, Leo felt utterly hopeless. He tried to protest, to remind Liam of who he was, Leo, not Noah, and begged him to snap out of it. The moment the words left his mouth, his lips were captured in a bruising kiss. While their mouths battled, Liam's free hand roamed downwards, coming to rest on the waistband of his jeans. Leo's eyes widened, and he struggled desperately, trying to save his last line of defense. But his squirming only made him acutely aware of something hard and hot pressing against his thigh. His struggling ceased. A frantic pounding began in his chest, so loud he couldn't tell if it was his own heartbeat or Liam's. Just as he thought all was lost, a deafening crash echoed through the room. The door had been kicked open. Liam's assault paused. Annoyance at the interruption hardened his features. He quickly wrapped Leo in the thick duvet, then sat up, his gaze turning to ice as he faced the intruders. He asked what business Ethan had there. Ethan, the story's hero. Leo's muddled brain managed a moment of clarity. This scene was in the book. The antagonist attempts to force himself on the protagonist, and the hero arrives just in time. But Noah was already safe. Confused, he peeked over the duvet. The man in the doorway was striking, with sharp, severe brows and eyes like a hawk's, piercing and intense. His posture was rigid, radiating an aura that screamed danger. Liam, still in the throes of his rut, bristled with raw aggression. The two alphas faced off, the tension in the room thick enough to cut with a knife. Then, a slender figure stepped out from behind Ethan. It was Noah. He looked at Leo, bundled in the blankets, with a worried expression. He offered a kind smile and mouthed the words, "Don't be afraid." Leo understood instantly. Noah must have feared Liam would punish him for letting him escape and had brought back help. The sentiment was touching, but a chill inexplicably crawled up Leo's spine. He glanced at Liam and met a gaze that promised a storm. Liam's entire demeanor shifted. He even managed a chilling smile as he asked Leo softly if he knew them. Leo knew that tone. It was the calm before a hurricane. As Liam's devoted follower, any association with his rival, especially after today's events, would have dire consequences. He shook his head frantically. He then looked at Noah and forced an explanation, claiming that Liam's rut had started and he had stayed behind to take care of him. Noah looked unconvinced, his eyes shifting between Leo and the stony-faced Liam. It was Ethan who broke the silence. He gave Liam a dismissive look, his gaze finally settling on Leo's head poking out from the duvet. He said with a mocking smile that since Liam already had someone, he should forget about bothering other people. With that, he deliberately took Noah's hand in front of Liam and walked out. The door closed again, leaving the room in a dead silence. Leo fearfully turned to face Liam, bracing for an explosion. To his surprise, Liam's expression was perfectly calm. But the look in his eyes could have murdered Ethan 100 times over. At least the interruption had dispelled the charged atmosphere. Leo quickly scrambled to get the inhibitor. Seeing Liam still simmering, he felt a pang of pity and offered some advice. He told him that force was never the answer. If he truly liked someone, he should be kind and patient. At his words, Liam slowly turned his head, his dark eyes locking onto Leo. An unreadable emotion swirled in their depths. After a long moment, his voice was quiet when he asked if he hadn't been good enough. Leo was baffled. Forcing someone onto a bed was good? He held back his sarcastic thoughts and just nodded placatingly, agreeing that Liam was the best in the world. He was the villain, but he was still his brother. Leo put the injector in his hand and urged him to use it. The pheromones in the air were making him dizzy. Liam's expression darkened again, but under Leo's insistent gaze, he took the injector. Once the shot was administered, the suffocating grapefruit scent began to fade. Leo started to climb out of the bed, announcing his departure. Before he could finish the sentence, he was pulled, duvet and all, into a tight embrace. A low voice, permitting no argument, instructed him to release his scent, reminding him of his offer to help. It had been a figure of speech, but an omega's pheromones did have a calming effect on an alpha during a rut. He couldn't refuse. The sweet clementine scent slowly filled the space again, mingling with the fading grapefruit. He didn't know how long they stayed like that. The emotional roller coaster of the evening had left him exhausted, and he drifted off to sleep. He was unaware of the man beside him, whose breathing grew heavier, who released his hold only to cover his eyes with a hand, the veins on his arm bulging with restraint. An alpha's rut lasted for days. Despite the inhibitor, Liam was emotionally volatile and couldn't go to work. Leo had wanted to go home, where staff could look after him, but Liam refused, simply staring at him with an intensity that made Leo look away guiltily. After all, it was his fault. So, for the next week, Leo was confined to the hotel, serving as a human pillow and pheromone diffuser. On the morning his rut finally broke, Leo woke up to an empty bed. He sat for a moment, the vacant space beside him creating an odd, hollow feeling in his chest. He shook his head, dismissing the thought. A notification buzzed on his phone. He picked it up, running a hand through his messy hair. It was a message from Liam. "I went to the office. Have breakfast at the hotel before you head home." Leo sent back a cat emoji. Liam replied almost instantly with a similar one. A large cat patting a smaller one. It was strangely gentle. His heart gave an odd flutter. He lay back down. It was just an illusion. For the next few weeks, he didn't see Liam, who was apparently away on a business trip. After a brief period of adjustment, Leo fell back into his own rhythm, excitedly preparing for college. His acceptance to Ashton University had come a while ago. The director of his old group home had always told him that to avoid being abandoned, one had to be useful. He remembered how pleased Liam had looked when he saw his scores. On move-in day, he was prepared to go alone. He was surprised to find Liam sitting on the sofa downstairs, a laptop on his knee, speaking in serious tones. Hearing Leo, he looked up, paused, then quickly concluded his call and closed the laptop. He walked over and took Leo's suitcase from his hand, his tone matter-of-fact as he asked if he had packed everything. Leo nodded. Recalling Liam's serious expression earlier, he told him he could go back to work. He could manage on his own. Liam frowned slightly, dismissing the idea as nonsense. He stated that work wasn't as important as taking him to school, then led the way out the door. Liam drove him personally. The whole way there, Leo was in a daze. Once they parked, Liam shed any executive pretense, hoisting Leo's bags and heading for the registration building, all the while reminding him to call if anyone bullied him or if he felt unwell. The sun cast sharp angles on the man's face as he talked. A strange, tingling sensation bloomed in Leo's chest. Before this, he had navigated college alone, but now something was different. Liam noticed his silence and prompted him with a questioning hum. Leo snapped out of it and responded with a cheerful "got it." Liam's features softened into a smile. But when they finally reached the dorm room and opened the door, the pleasant atmosphere evaporated. There, sitting at a desk with headphones on, was Noah. At the sound of the door, Noah turned, his face lighting up when he saw Leo. Then his eyes fell on Liam standing behind him, and the smile vanished. Still, he greeted Leo politely. Leo didn't know what to say, just managed a numb nod. Of all the cursed luck. Liam said nothing, his gaze fixed on Noah for a long, heavy moment. He set down Leo's luggage, gave him a few brief instructions about eating properly, and left. After watching him go, Leo started unpacking. Noah took off his headphones and offered to help, his voice smooth and pleasant. But Leo shook his head, politely declining. Their allegiances were different now. No matter how flawed, Liam was his brother, and he would always be on his side. Soon after orientation began, Liam started messaging him daily, asking about school. They would video chat at night. At first, Leo didn't think much of it, but as it became a routine, he grew suspicious. He wondered if Liam was using him to keep tabs on Noah. Having reached this conclusion, he started using exhaustion as an excuse to skip the calls. One evening after a long day of orientation activities, he was walking to the dining hall with his other roommate, Chris. Chris slung an arm over his shoulder, teasing him about his lack of stamina and how even omegas needed to stay in shape. Leo gave him a tired, sarcastic look. Chris just laughed, but then his eyes widened at something over Leo's shoulder. He shoved Leo aside and bolted, muttering about not letting some guy know he'd presented as an omega. Leo turned just in time to see a tall, lean guy take off in pursuit. Youth was wasted on the young. As he neared the dining hall, he overheard snippets of conversation. Someone mentioned that Liam, a notable alumnus, was on campus. Liam? Here? Leo's blood ran cold. His mind raced. Noah's heat was due any day now. And Noah had gotten heat stroke during the day's events. He was alone in their room. Of course, Liam was still obsessed. He broke into a sprint, racing back to the dorm. Before he even reached their floor, A thick scent of gardenias, Noah's scent, mixed with sharp grapefruit filled the hallway. His heart sank. He was too late. As he rushed forward, his knees suddenly went weak. A familiar, paralyzing tingle started at the base of his spine, and his breathing quickened. He braced himself against the wall, gasping for air as his own sweet clementine scent flooded out. Of all the damn times to go into heat himself, he never carried inhibitors. He finally reached the door, hand outstretched, when he heard Noah's weak voice from inside, pleading for Liam to stay away, followed by a soft cry. Leo's hand fell from the doorknob. His lashes trembled. He'd failed. A heavy weight settled in his chest. But his own condition was becoming critical. His body was on fire. He had to get to the campus clinic. He turned to leave, but at that exact moment, the dorm room door opened. A familiar voice called his name, asking where he was going. Leo froze. So soon? But when he turned, Liam was perfectly composed, his clothes neat, not a hair out of place. He didn't look like a man who had just done anything untoward. Leo was utterly confused. As Liam approached, the familiar grapefruit scent made him fight the urge to throw himself into the man's arms. He managed to ask if Liam had done anything to Noah. Liam's brow furrowed. He explained flatly that he had come looking for Leo, and finding him gone, had stumbled upon Noah starting his heat. He'd given him an inhibitor to avoid it affecting Leo, then called Ethan to come pick him up. Leo could only stare. That was it? He'd called Ethan? Noticing Leo's wide-eyed stare, Liam touched his forehead, his voice deepening with concern as he asked why his face was so red. His hand was cool against Leo's feverish skin. Leo instinctively leaned into the touch, the heat in his body becoming unbearable again. His last vestiges of reason crumbling, he begged his brother for an inhibitor. Flushed and delirious from his heat, he was unaware of how captivating he looked. In the hallway, Liam's throat worked, his expression shifting through several emotions before he finally spoke, his voice raspy. He claimed the inhibitors were gone, and that they were going home. On the ride, his consciousness faded in and out. He vaguely recognized the underground garage of Liam's private apartment near the office, a place he only stayed when working late. When Liam lifted him from the car, he mumbled a question about why they were there instead of the main house. Liam's reply was smooth and logical. It was closer. He had orientation the next day. It would be a hassle to go back and forth. Liam placed him on the bed in his minimalist, gray-toned bedroom. Leo kicked off his shoes and buried his face in a pillow, groaning in discomfort and pleading for an inhibitor. The man behind him didn't move. A sense of wrongness began to prickle at him. Before he could turn, a heavy weight settled on top of him, and the overwhelming scent of grapefruit pheromones washed over him. He moaned, the scent both soothing and agonizing. He tried to struggle, a lamb for the slaughter, crying out Liam's name in a pained, desperate voice. A low, husky voice answered from behind him. He was told not to move, that a temporary mark was more effective than any inhibitor. The words had barely registered when he felt a wetness on the back of his neck, followed by the sharp pressure of teeth sinking into his scent gland. A broken sound escaped his lips, muffled by the pillow. The man behind him didn't gentle his hold. If anything, the bite grew more intense, as if he meant to consume him whole. It went on for a long time, flooding his system with alpha pheromones until his eyes were wet with tears of pain and overwhelming sensation. The next day, he was standing under the sun for orientation drills. A temporary mark was indeed more effective than an inhibitor. He cursed Liam silently in his head, but his hand unconsciously drifted to the tender spot on his neck. Chris sidled up to him, sniffing the air. He commented that Leo smelled like an alpha. Leo automatically explained it was just his brother's scent, that he'd gone into heat and Liam had helped him. Liam liked Noah. Helping him was probably just to ensure he didn't miss his training. Some help. Chris stared at him, dumbfounded. Then he muttered something to himself about brothers helping each other like that. Before Leo could ask what he meant, a girl from their group leaned in, her eyes wide with excitement, exclaiming about the taboo romance. Leo quickly waved his hands, clarifying that they weren't related by blood. To his dismay, her excitement only grew. She declared that made it even better and that she was now a fan. The temporary mark held for several days, getting him through the end of orientation. That night, after a final group sing-along, everyone was lounging on the main lawn. Chris suggested they go out to celebrate. Noah, who was with them, agreed. Someone from another group, an alpha named Jake, suggested a bar. Jake had been a friend in high school, but they'd grown distant after Leo presented as an Omega. The group decided on the bar. At a table in the loud, crowded space, Jake sat next to him and handed him a cocktail. He said it had been a long time. Leo looked at him. Jake was handsome, a tall, athletic type with dark skin and bright eyes. He asked how Leo had been. Leo said he was fine and took a sip of his drink. Across the table, he saw Noah drinking as well, the colored lights playing across his fair skin. An inexplicable irritation began to bubble up inside Leo. He wished he were that effortlessly beautiful. He drank several more glasses, trying to quell the strange anger. It worked, but it also left him dizzy and disoriented. Later, he was aware of Jake leading him out of the bar. A moment of clarity cut through the alcoholic haze. He remembered the dorms were locked. Jake's voice was close to his ear, telling him he was drunk and that they could just stay at a nearby hotel. The scent of an alpha, rich like red wine, filled his nose. He tried to push him away, mumbling that it wasn't appropriate and that he would call his brother for a ride. But Jake's grip was firm. His voice was laced with a strange bitterness as he asked if Leo knew why he had kept his distance all those years ago. Before he could finish his sentence, a familiar, sharp scent of grapefruit cut through the air. In the next instant, he was pulled forcefully into a warm, solid chest. He blinked, trying to focus on the person holding him. A wave of happy surprise washed over him when he recognized the face. "Liam?" he slurred. The man's expression was grim. He shot a glacial look at Jake, then scooped Leo into his arms. "We're going home," he stated flatly. Leo curled up against him contentedly. Behind them, Jake's frustrated voice called out that Leo only saw him as a brother. Liam ignored him. Back at the apartment, he insisted on taking a shower. Liam reluctantly let him go. The warm water cleared his head slightly, but as he finished and reached for his clothes, his legs gave out. The familiar electric tingle shot up from the base of his spine. He caught himself on the sink, knocking a bottle of soap to the floor with a loud clatter. The bathroom door was thrown open. He turned, frozen and exposed. Liam strode toward him, his gaze sweeping over Leo's body. His voice thick and strained when he asked if he was in heat again. The sound of his voice broke the spell. Leo spun around, frantically trying to dress. Once his underwear was on, he regained a sliver of composure and told his brother to mark him again. The temporary mark was more convenient than an inhibitor, even if it didn't last through the whole cycle. He waited, but nothing happened. He turned back, confused, and was met with a dark, intense stare that mirrored the one from the hotel room. A shiver ran down his spine. He called out his brother's name. At the word brother, something in Liam's expression shifted. a flicker of resignation. He wrapped Leo in a bathrobe, his voice low as he asked if Leo knew what a mark truly signified. It was the first time he had used his name with such gravity. Leo's gaze faltered. He had always been a frantic overachiever, driven by a deep-seated fear of being worthless and abandoned. He knew, academically, that a mark was something shared between two people who loved each other. But what did that matter? Liam didn't love him. He tried to laugh it off, reminding him that he had said the temporary mark was more effective. Liam corrected him, stating that it had another meaning. Leo's voice hitched as he asked what that was, suddenly unable to meet his eyes. Liam's voice seemed to fill the steamy room. I don't know what you've misunderstood, but I don't like Noah. I've only met him a few times, and he belongs to Ethan. I have no interest in being a third wheel. Leo, the only person I have ever wanted is you. The world exploded into fireworks inside Leo's head. The villain wanted him? A background character? But he remembered the hotel. He stammered, asking why he had taken Noah there. Liam explained it calmly. He had felt his rut approaching after a party and got a room to rest. Noah had shown up inexplicably, and before he could be thrown out, Leo had arrived. Leo seized on a key detail. He asked if Liam had already been close to his rut. Realizing what Leo was implying, Liam coughed, a faint blush creeping up his ears. He admitted it hadn't been that imminent, but Leo's arrival, and his scent, had pushed him over the edge. The clementine fragrance in the air intensified, sweet and heavy. The desire that had been simmering just below the surface finally broke free. Leo stood on his toes and pressed his lips to Liam's. The man's pupils contracted in surprise, and then strong arms wrapped around his waist, pulling him flush against a hard body. He didn't quite remember how they went from a temporary mark in the bathroom to being tangled in the sheets of the bed. He only remembered a trail of kisses and bites from his neck downwards, his clothes disappearing piece by piece. The lights above blurred and swayed until the sky outside began to lighten with the dawn. In his sleep, he dreamt of being 8 years old again. He was in the group home using his street smarts to survive. He would charm the director for an extra chicken leg at dinner, only to give it all to the silent, brooding young Liam. He had approached him with a selfish motive, knowing Liam was destined for a better life. But Liam, once he realized Leo was giving up his own food, refused to take it anymore. When Leo was injured protecting him, Liam had stayed by his bedside for days, not sleeping. He had swallowed his pride to beg the director for a doctor and then, once Leo was stable, had brutally beaten the boys who hurt him, earning himself a punishment in the dark storage closet he was so terrified of. When Leo found him, he was pale and trembling, but his only question was whether Leo's head still hurt. That was when Leo had first cried in his arms and called him brother. Liam had held him and declared that from then on, Leo was his. That one word had sealed their fate. When the wealthy family came for him, Liam had held Leo's hand and refused to go without him. Over the next decade, Leo had seen every side of Liam. Exhausted, furious, ruthless. But never once had Liam allowed him to suffer any hardship. All the confusing jealousy and frustration he'd felt recently finally made sense. He realized he had fallen in love with him long ago. He slept until noon. He expected Liam to be gone, but when he opened his eyes, he was met with a handsome face watching him intently. As his mind cleared, so did the sensations in his body. Every muscle screamed in protest when he tried to move. A sharp hiss of pain escaped him. Liam immediately grew concerned and moved to pull back the covers, asking where it hurt. Leo clutched the blanket, his face burning. He insisted he was fine. Liam had been gentle, but his body felt like it had run several marathons. Relieved, Liam offered to get him something to eat. Leo nodded, trying to get out of bed to wash up, but his legs trembled uncontrollably and refused to support him. A low chuckle sounded from behind him. He glared at the culprit, who merely smiled, walked over, and carried him to the bathroom. As he was being held, his eyes fell on the trash can. Inside, he saw a familiar box, the one from the hotel, which meant the person Liam had intended to corner all along had always been him. The revelation was bizarre, but it also made a strange kind of sense. His rivalry with Ethan was real, but the company was thriving, showing no signs of impending collapse. After that day, Liam forbade him from calling him brother, except, of course, during certain moments. 2 years passed in a blur. By his junior year, Leo had completed all his required CRS. He started an internship at Liam's company, beaming as he told him he could finally help ease his workload. He would strive to be better, not just for himself, but to stand beside him as an equal. Behind the large executive desk, Liam looked up from his work. The man's features had grown even more defined over the years. His eyes softened, and he beckoned Leo closer. As Leo approached, he was pulled into a lap, held in a tight embrace. A deep voice rumbled by his ear. "I'm happy just having you by my side." A warmth spread through Leo's chest, melting away years of accumulated loneliness and insecurity. But before he could get too emotional, he felt hot breath on his neck. A sense of foreboding made him try to squirm away, suggesting he should get to work. "Not yet," Liam murmured. First, a temporary mark. The blinds came down, plunging the office into shadow. Soon, muffled protests could be heard, because no one in their right mind needed to take off all their clothes for a temporary mark.